And that is the promo for IPL Fight, but this is the game. And here in the top right-hand corner of the map, we have our red Zerg player from Team SCV Life, winner of 11 Fight Clubs in a row, trying to make it 12. It's TSL HyuN. His opponent down here in the bottom left-hand corner, the reigning GSL Code S champion, one of the very best Zerg players in the entire world. It's Startail Life.
Goes on.
Life goes on.
2-1, ladies and gentlemen. HyuN currently leading. He is the red. He is, well, not going to be facing Cheese this game.
All right, you say that, but he actually canceled. No. He canceled a drone and put down a 9-pool.
Okay, well.
So he's facing Cheese yet again.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, it's all right. You know what? I gotta say I like it because I mean we're not watching ZVZ here.
Yeah.
We're watching like altered ZVZ.
Yes.
It's kind of cool.
We are.
Like a series of it, you know, not like, oh, there's like a game of, you know, Cheese. That's you expect that. But
right.
This is like a full, like, how do you even analyze like the you know how there's always like the mental
yes.
mental processes going on in
yeah.
the player's mind. In a best of 9, it's crazy involved. But I mean, here you've just got, what is HyuN thinking? Well, I can tell you what he's not thinking. Hatchery first? I don't think. Actually, maybe that's Life's idea here. I'm gonna cheese until you refuse to go hatchery first.
Right. And well, he's done it.
Next game.
He's done it. 3 cheese games in a row, and on the 4th, HyuN decides to put a pool first.
I'm gonna call it right now, by the way.
Yes.
I don't think that. I think Life will go hatch first next game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. So obviously we're playing a best-of scenario. This isn't like you're just playing a one-off. Even just a best of 3 is even not the best example. When you're playing a longer series like this, you want to do things that obviously throw off your opponent a little bit. This Overlord sees everything perfectly. And Life has certainly tried to do that. He's had early pools at varying degrees. We've had him at the 12, 10, 6, and 9 supply mark. And 1 has worked, 2 have failed.
I wonder if HyuN's reaction to this was a facepalm or like a yes, like with the shoulder, you know, the elbow tuck.
I think it's going to be a yes because he's got 8 lings that are about to pop up and save this hatchery.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be a great position. Just wow, you're doing it again.
Yeah.
Well, HyuN should be a little bit ahead in this situation. Should be able to save this hatch. He actually only has 2 more lings on the way right. Did 2 spawn? Okay, yeah, 2 spawn. Good.
And the control from Life has actually been staggeringly good so far because he's actually ducked back in, done more damage to the hatchery, and pulled away. Looks like he's going to try and engage this straight up. HyuN only has a couple more lings left here, but it looks like it's enough to just force away Life. And Life finally going to back out of there, but way down now. He's only putting up his 2nd hatch.
Oh, yeah. HyuN is going to be substantially ahead this game. But, you know, Life did okay in the last set. And, well, at this point, he's going to be playing some hard defense. HyuN is pushing out with those Zerglings, and Life decided to abandon the 2 lings from defense and use them for scouting, which he did. He got in there. He didn't see any drones in the middle line, so could be suspecting a fairly aggressive response here out of TSL HyuN. HyuN, instead of dealing with the hatchery, going to head straight up the ramp, try to pick himself off a queen or some drones or something that he's, well, we'll see if he gets drone. Maybe. Good, nice. Oh, beautiful control out of Life. Saves that drone, only to save it again. Oh, that's so ridiculous. Beautiful plays there out of Life. That drone making it to 1 hit point thanks to regen, and is going to make it out of that alive. So HyuN essentially throwing those Zerglings away. Yeah,
I mean, he gets a good read on what his opponent is doing. He saw the timing of gas. He knows when that's coming up, but you're absolutely right. You didn't get any substantial gain for that. So, drone does not bite the dust. HyuN is at a 7-worker advantage, though, and looks like he's in pretty good spot to continue with that. But now the injects are starting to hit for Life, so he will be able to start clawing his way back into the game. A lot of resources banked up for HyuN, and I wonder what that's going to be allocated to.
Yeah, you know, it looks like he supply blocked himself pretty hard here. Just popping out an Overlord and 2 drones, and not, you know, a lot of times players will deal with this differently. They may decide to throw down a macro hatch or throw down a 3rd because they've pooled so much. But we are seeing that instead, HyuN is just going to make the Overlord and wait, make a lot of drones, and slowly but surely, Life is finding his way back into this game after killing off those lings for nothing but information. And now after this supply block mistake out of HyuN, you know, I mean, he's not back in it, but he's not as far behind as he really could be right now. We'll see the effects of those, the drones that would have been made not being made. We'll see that in a moment or two as these extractors are now going down for TSL HyuN.
And Life is going to take another quick third base. Looks like HyuN is planning to do the same thing. Yeah, there's already a drone making its way out. It was a little unfortunate for HyuN, though, because with the one Zergling that was left, he didn't wait until it was killed to put down both of his extractors, because Life got in there, saw that there were no extractors up, doubled back, and then saw both of them get thrown down at exactly the same time. HyuN now working off of 4 gas, though, is going to have layer tech and consequently any sort of follow-up to this much quicker than his opponent. Surprised that we haven't seen Mutas at least once so far, but I guess to be honest, because of the early pools and whether they've succeeded or not, hasn't really given Life the opportunity to try and push ahead with those.
HyuN getting his third, but Life got a head start on that, playing a little bit greedy, and that's what we love seeing when you're behind, you know. Extractors finishing up at the natural expansion of Life. A lot of Zerglings on the field right now for him. 12 more currently on the way, and Speed is just about to wrap up, so this is going to be a really big, really powerful attack coming out of Life, and 7 Roaches are going to be the aggregate response with a Spine Crawler for HyuN.
Okay, well, is it going to be enough to hold off 30 Lings, though? That's a lot.
Not at that third. That third is doomed.
All right.
Doomed to death.
Well, yep, HyuN walking across there very slowly. It's just so frustrating, I've got to imagine, for him, because at every turn he's just been repelled. He does manage to get a cancel on this one at least, so it's not going to be as bad. But, yeah, still a big advantage game there for Life. Now, HyuN may be thinking about it, just a big push to follow this up, and he certainly has the units to do that, especially with the next 9 Roaches, that are on the way.
Well, you know, that is a lot of larva that Life put into those Lings. So the reality is HyuN should be a little economically ahead. If we take a look at that, actually it looks pretty equal. In fact, Life is ahead. So, all right, here we go. Well, Lings surrounding all those Roaches, so many of them dying off. HyuN really wants to get down this expansion, and he's going to manage to do it, finally. But, wow, Life with, I mean, that's a testament to Life's ability to macro. We did see HyuN make that slight hiccup earlier with the supply block. Perhaps another smaller one happened later, because somehow HyuN is actually, you know, even with the advantage that he had, he's behind on workers, and he didn't have enough, he wasn't able to sustain economy. Even though he only lost a hatchery, he's behind on workers, and he didn't have a giant army. And
it looks like he's prioritizing keeping his third base alive rather than trying to put pressure on his opponent, which is kind of interesting because he did actually have a 17-0 Roach advantage not too long ago. 12 more have popped up for Life in the meantime, but of course the next big round is about to hit for HyuN, so he should remain pretty good. But once again, we have a pretty stable, pretty even mid-game here in the CVZ.
Glial reconstitution about to wrap up right now for HyuN. And that is going to allow him to apply that pressure you were just talking about. But Kevin, you know, glial reconstitution for Life is still a long distance away. About 30 seconds-ish.
Yeah.
With +1. Also nearing completion. I mean, HyuN's got a beautiful timing here. +1, Glial just finished. If he was attacking right now, his opponent is 0-0 with no Roach speed, which would allow HyuN to get in an excellent concave and prevent Life from being able to retreat. However, it was an extremely small window. It was like those little round windows that are always in zombie movies that you have to crawl through, but like, the real big guy can't fit through it, so he jumps off and runs into the locker room and...
Yeah. And let me tell you, I mean, the last outbreak we had here in San Francisco, that was me. I mean, yeah, I mean, the locker room's a pretty good spot to hide out, though.
Yeah, you know,
underrated.
Zombies don't know how to open lockers, man.
No.
They can't deal with those number dial pad things. It's too confusing for them.
Yeah, they just get really confused. So.
Roaches are not undead, however, until they are dead.
That's correct. Yes. that is actually.
Tell me how that much sense that one made, right?
You can't bring them back, unfortunately. Although some people wish they could. Ooh, looks like a few units stuck in there, but they get picked off very quickly. Just some scouting Lings.
I'm actually pretty stunned there hasn't really been an engagement at this point. I mean, HyuN had a beautiful timing window, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Didn't opt to utilize it. And Life, I mean, not too surprisingly, is just playing some hardcore defense, but, well, +2, timed pretty much the same for both players. Here comes HyuN's push. This is so interestingly timed.
Yeah, and you can't walk up single file line against a large group of Roaches, and he is just going to try and power his way up, and I do not think that that's going to work, and I think he quickly realizes that too and backs up. Now, had he had any infestors with him, that would have made for a lot. That was actually, all of those Roaches were very clumped up, and he could have very easily taken that position, but as it stands now, without the infestors, really doesn't have the opportunity to move up there.
Well, that was very that was extremely risky out of HyuN. I mean, it was obvious he didn't know there were units there because he was walking them up single file. If he didn't know there were units there, he definitely didn't know there weren't infestors there. And if there was even one infestor with a fungal growth, so many of those Roaches would have died. But as it stands, things are still fairly even. Supplies only separated by 3 at this moment. A couple of Roaches going to catch another couple of Roaches out in the open. HyuN will lead those away as he pushes down the right-hand side of the map. And I think this fourth is actually pretty dead. Doesn't have too many hit points. Let's see. Nope, decides to not commit the second he sees roaches coming. And that's actually a very smart decision out of HyuN because had those fungal growths caught his small amount of roaches, he would have been forced to engage or else sacrifice a large portion of his army.
Yeah, and the follow-up from that could have been pretty devastating from Life as well. HyuN is going to duck in here, though, with 4 roaches, and he's actually already justified the economic damage, while at the same time that he moves off to the right and tries to position himself near the 4th once again, but Life does have the majority of his forces ready to go. How many workers have been killed? Just 3, but, you know, it's still measurable damage.
This is actually what I like seeing out of Life right now. Ling counterattack on the 4th, going to be sweeping across. And, well, we were looking earlier, HyuN possibly losing his, Life Loot possibly losing his 4th. But now, HyuN is actually going to, in effect, lose his 2 life. So, HyuN, well, trying to do what Life is doing, but Life doing it more effectively because Lings are just so good at that.
And those infestors were caught out in the open, but of course they do have the built-in evasion with fungal growth, so they dish out a little bit of damage to the roaches. But of course, Life just going to circle back, run away, and come back at a later date. Both players are moving into +1 Carapace at about the same time. Both players are moving into Group Spines at about the same time, so Hydralisks are going to hit the field for both players. And we do have almost maxed armies, a little bit extra resources for HyuN, but he's not quite maxed out yet.
Life trying to trace down those infestors with some Lings, ultimately just going to be throwing them out to no cause or reason, and he's just going to be pushing in. Actually, he's committing with the entire army. We see it coming up the ramp. Fungal growth going to go down. This is a beautiful position for Life. Notice the concave he's got going on right now against these units. Infested Terrans still going to be trapping the entire army of Life. HyuN's supply plummeting there, even though he's resupplying with a ton of units. Overall, the fight does look like it's going to go in HyuN's favor, but a lot of drones being killed off. For sure. You know what, this is, I mean, we're going to have to analyze this afterwards. Total of 19 workers killed thus far. A couple of Hydras in the main base going to be cleaning up these units of Life, but how is, we need a status report right now, Kevin.
Yeah, okay, so take a look at the status report. So even though the army was pretty convincingly beaten by HyuN, he did lose a worker advantage pretty significantly. He lost another 20 workers there, give or take. So actually looks like it was 17. So quite a bit of damage was done, but he reinforces with almost purely high DPS units. Rather than supplementing this force with additional roaches, decides to move right back into a bunch of Hydralisks. I expected that meant he was going to try and put on some pressure afterwards, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case, at least for the time being. Positioning himself in the middle of the map now, and maybe he'll move up in just a second.
HyuN really holding map control right now. His Life is kind of just cornered down towards his 4th. And, you know, it's always good to be the player with map control, but the real reason behind it is not so much the map control itself, but the fact that if you lose your units, if you lose your army, your opponent actually has to walk across the map in order to do damage to you, and that gives you time to resupply. Whereas if you're the player playing on defense in a ZVZ and you lose a fight, you're actually probably just dead.
Yes, that's actually correct. So, oh my god, that's a lot of Hydralisks that were actually caught out in the open here. All fungal down in position. Will HyuN be able to get the concave he needs, though? Looks like he's cycling around with a few units from around the edge, and Life is actually being moved back. Loses a lot of units up in the front, and even though Fungals did hit a considerable amount of units, they didn't really kill a whole lot of them. And there was also a conscious decision before that of HyuN to actually go down a little bit on workers and make sure he was bringing more supply and army to the fight.
Yeah, lost a lot of Hydras there in the retreat as well, did Life. You know, Hydras are good at a lot of things, but running away is not one of them.
No.
Does that make them courageous?
Possibly. Very brave.
I believe forced.
I believe their bravery level is so
9,000.
So brave. Yeah.
So brave.
Yeah.
So as a level of measurement. Guys, HyuN coming down with a couple of roaches right now. Fungal growth on 3. Sick fungal. Even kills the roach.
Yeah.
Not that often you see. Typically, it's like in giant balls.
Yeah.
When like a ball of roaches just explode.
Well, HyuN actually buying himself some time around the side and doing a pretty good job of splitting up his forces, so he doesn't have that ball of roaches you were talking about, just getting all fungaled in one spot. And looks like Life may be thinking about going around the edge. I don't know. We have kind of a standoff situation here. We've gotten towards the later part of this game, but of course, this isn't like a lot of CVZs we've seen recently that have gone towards super Tier 3 tech. And with Life's very aggressive style at the beginning and TSL HyuN loving his kind of Tier 2 units and just throwing waves of aggression at his opponent, I don't think we're going to see a lot of those this entire best of 9.
So HyuN right now is very much reliant on his fungal growths. Because, I mean, what, 5, 6? It's a huge fraction of his army that is actually Hydras.
Yes.
The Hydras lose 2 to 1 to a roach if you have the battle one-on-one. Like a roach will kill a Hydra and then kill another Hydra.
Right.
Hydras are not good against the roaches. You just want to throw, I call them sprinkles on your ice cream of roaches, you know? And in this situation, I mean, they are effective. Nice fungal growth, by the way, catching a lot of Life's roaches. That's actually going to completely fix his ratio.
Yeah.
In the regard that, you know, if you fungal a group of roaches with your Hydras have the 6 range to the roaches 4 when you have the groove spine, so you can kind of just sit there and hit them and they can't actually shoot you. And the roaches will trap your opponent's Hydras behind the roaches. So it's like really cool if you land some cool, very, very good fungal growths that you can actually just kill your opponent's army and he just has to stand there and watch.
Yes.
But it's so hard to do. So HyuN is really confident on that happening.
All right, well, I mean, we are kind of at that standoff moment, though. With Hive Tech coming up, HyuN is going to have a nice ability to dump his resources into something other than roaches if he desires. That was a
great dancing infestor, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That was sweet. Just twitching out there for a second. Didn't get his fix, unfortunately, today, so sad.
Price is moving on up.
Yeah, that's right. So it's hard out there for an investor. Let's see. That is a staggering amount of Hydralis. What's the overall Hydralis count?
Yeah,
40 to 27. Not often you see 40 Hydras on the map.
Oh, man. This is, I mean, he's extremely reliant on these fungals. We can't stress that enough, guys, because that would just get destroyed by an army of roaches. But nice fungal growth there for HyuN. Going to trap a small quantity of units. Forces out a lot of infested Terrans that ultimately are going to do nothing. But also catches himself some Hydras.
Oh, and
everything kind of breaking down here into a giant clustered engagement.
Yeah, what is this? Okay, so he takes out the 4th base, but he splits up the force, and Life actually runs from around the edge and actually does have the better DPS sitting on the high ground and able to kind of win that edge of the war. But will he be able to use this high ground to his advantage? And it looks like for the time being he is. HyuN is actually losing quite a bit of his forces with the reinforcements coming up for both sides. It looks like it's favoring Life at the moment. He should be able to turn around and head right for the 4th base of his opponent.
No larva injects for HyuN. HyuN has 3,000 minerals, 2,500 gas, but absolutely no larva whatsoever because he has not been keeping up with his inject at all. Only able to make 20 roaches. 20 roaches off of 4 hatcheries. That is the equivalent of 1 larva inject. You're pointing out that queen right now, Kevin, with 175 energy. That is very irresponsible out of HyuN. He cannot remake his army at all. And if we look at Life sitting at 180 supply to HyuN's currently 140. I mean, it was great. His army died on the opposite side of the map. That's exactly what we were talking about earlier. He had all data remax, but he had nothing to do with.
And he's going to lose his 4th base. At the same time, I saw, no, it's actually just an Overseer. I thought a little bit of red, thought that HyuN may be trying to put on some pressure. Is he going to keep that 4th base alive? He does. That may be his saving grace as he's remaxing on 24 more Hydralisks.
Well, somehow going to make it another moment or two. We see his money finally plummeting almost to the bottom, still actually pulling up quite an amount of gas.
All right.
So, I mean, if HyuN had maximum capacity of production right now, I'd actually put him ahead of Life. I mean, he sniped the 4th, but I mean, his units are finally going to pop out. Life's giving him quite an opportunity here to get himself back into this.
Ooh, Life's a bit split up, though. He has half his units around the edge, and the rest are now finally starting to make their way up there. There's actually an opportunity for HyuN to try and charge in there. But once he pulls, you can see here, as he pulls HyuN's units out of position, there may be a potential for him to sneak back in and finish off this hatchery with the last few hundred hit points.
You know what, Life actually gave HyuN a little bit too much credit there because HyuN was sitting on about 140 supply. Life could have pushed in, but I truly believe that he just expected HyuN to be maxed out because why would HyuN not have maxed while I was crossing the board with Hydras? Well, because he messed up, but here we go. Big engagement going down. Life and HyuN both with about the exact same concave. Life throwing out a lot of later infested Terrans, but they're going to get some massive DPS versus the Hydras. Life, Stutter stepping forward, finishing off the last vestiges of HyuN's retreating army, but Hydra's not so good at running, are going to die in the path of retreat, and now Life poised to possibly take this game. Yeah,
he's going to finish off the last mining base here for HyuN. HyuN trying to reestablish something down towards the right-hand side of the map, but that alone is not going to be enough. He has to reinforce, and he has to reinforce right now because he's only got 5 infestors and 7 roaches on the map altogether, and those infestors are pretty low in energy. There's just 1 or 2 of them that have a fungal growth available, and so many drones actually getting caught at the same time, and they're just going to be like lambs to the slaughter.
And another fungal growth going to wrap it all up. Drones exploding actually together this time around, Kevin. And we see HyuN just trying to form some semblance of a defense, but it is just going to fall apart as GG is typed by TSL HyuN.
And once again, we're tied up. Life bringing it to a 2-2 tie now. The most games that have ever been taken against HyuN in a Fight Club are 3. So Life is just 1 game away now from tying what anyone else has been able to do against him.
If anybody's going to be able to take this series, I mean, here's how I'm seeing it. If Life doesn't win this is why if I had to pick a person, I mean, you know, you're making me all right. I got to see Life because someone has to beat him eventually, right?
Right.
And I mean, it just makes sense that it would be the first Zerg that he ever plays.
And not just the first Zerg, but the guy who won GSL Codes a week ago, a guy who's kind of sitting on top of the StarCraft world, a guy who has beaten almost every major opponent in dominating fashion over the past 2 months.
Yeah, well, all right. So, Life haters, don't hate me or anything, but, I mean, he tends to beat better players harder than he beats players that aren't as good.
Yeah.
I'm talking about HyuN, of course.
Yeah.
So, like,
I'll agree
he's
with
like,
that.
oh, you're really good? I guess I'm supposed to 5-0 you.
Yeah.
But, you know, Life showing, actually, no, that's not going to happen. So, I mean, you look at Alive, a very prominent player, and he 5-0'd Alive, and now Life already tying it up at 2-2. Life could definitely take this, man, but HyuN, well, you know, I'm looking forward to this next game because I want to see if Life goes for the 15 hatch, tries to really get inside his opponent's head here.
You put yourself on the line, so we're going to hold you to that and see what he does. So let's see here. More people. We had Phil on Twitter actually say you should rename it to Iron StarCraft 2 with HyuN being the resident pro. So we'll just bring in the challengers with him, but he'll never lose. So let's see here. And Jay Tambis says, I haven't eaten all day. I'm hoping HyuN can finish this quick so I won't starve to death. There you go. All right, well, it looks like it's going to be a long set, sir, so please get yourself some food and settle in for the long haul. We're going to run to a commercial break. When we get back, guys, it'll be time for game number 5. We'll see who splits this tie in their advantage. Is it going to be HyuN or Life?